Hello, YouTube. Salivate Metal here. You have reached the end of an era. Yes, that's right. The greatest truth never told. Chris Duane from the Silver Shield, who once became, or started out as Silver Bullet Silver Shield, is leaving YouTube. So he says. And it's quite interesting, the history of this channel. Many of us started our channels around the time that he was starting to get really popular. I believe that he sort of did revolutionize and excite the silver community on YouTube at the commencement, at the beginning of his Silver Bullet, Silver Shield newsletter and series and the like. And it started out with messages and themes that we all kind of appreciate and can relate to about the debt and death, and that was his first silver round. And it sold like wildfire on eBay, and other things such as the Trivium and the Freedom Girl. I think is the most popular of his designs. It's a beautiful round, very well done. And even some of the others, though they were kind of a little bit awkward or strange, like the Slave Queen and tying the queen to the Empire and the like. You kind of started to see some cracks in the shield, so to speak, with some of these messages that kind of resonate with some people. Some people certainly agree with, but that would rear its ugly head later on in the quote YouTube career of Chris Duane and his videos. But those of us who challenged him early on with some of the messages were very quickly banned from his channel from commenting and the like, and it was then I began to lose some respect for him, because obviously he was not interested in engaging his audience or being challenged in some of the things that he said, which in time you sort of see more and more ridiculous notions being spouted out with some of his messages and some of his YouTube videos, which were kind of few and far between as time went on. He was very busy and understood, but then, now he's leaving YouTube, and so he's certainly putting out more videos, and with some pretty interesting and ridiculous notions in some of these videos he's put out. But nonetheless, we saw that in tandem with the breakup of Chris Duane and Rob Gray from the Mulligan Mint, when they partnered together for some of the rounds, and they were releasing them, at a pretty regular pace. And some of these designs were interesting, and some of them good, and others were just complete failures, really a grasping at straws. And people began to see that he was simply a used car salesman, planted from one mode as a car salesman in New Jersey to a silver salesman on YouTube. And just as you sell the greatest and greatest features of an automobile, the True Coat, if everybody understands what that is, watch Fargo the movie, you'll understand the True Coat sales pitch. This is exactly what he's doing in the silver community, and equating silver to the gold ratio at 1-to-1, and other messages that certainly taint his original purpose. He is simply some of the true colors came out in some of his messages, which were grossly anti-American, to pro-Iranian, and also engaging in other areas to which he has criticized folks like Alex Jones and others. And yet he is engaged in many of the same arguments and many of the same tactics that of those he criticized in the alternative media, such as Mark Dice and Alex Jones, to the point where everything is a false flag and everything is a conspiracy, from 9/11, which is actually the date that he will leave YouTube apparently, to this ridiculous video about the journalist shooting. If you get a chance to watch this one, it is just insane, the connections he puts to the journalist who was shot, and raising another false flag and the like. So certainly, as he's going out with a bang with all these videos, and he believes that essentially silver is the savior, and that the economy and society will collapse, civilization will collapse, and and if you have real friends and real skills and real wealth, you'll be okay. And that's a good message, and it's a good message to have regardless. But he's certainly countering it. I don't think he believes that everything is going to fail deep down inside, or else he wouldn't be putting out these anti-Trump videos, basically slamming Donald Trump at every turn. He would be telling people not to vote and to buckle down and prepare. And he says delete Facebook and delete everything, but he wants you to watch his videos and sign up with his Silver Shield Exchange newsletter and the like, and buy his products. Well, he is leaving on September the 11th, and he's going out with a bang. And again, as a tribute to him, starting out some of the messages. Again, I disagree with him more than I agree with him. And if you do that, you're out of his channel. You certainly can't participate in discussion on his forums, because he does not like anybody that disagrees with him or to challenge him intellectually in any way, shape, or form. But I do have the Freedom Girl. I have the Debt and Death Copper round, and but I really won't buy much more of his material. I don't know what's going to be the future for Chris Duane from here on out. I think he will. I personally don't think this is the end of him on YouTube, but he's made the announcement that he is leaving on September the 11th, and we shall see what happens. The silver community will certainly survive without him, and be perfectly fine. And I think we'll have a more balanced approach on some of these matters. But just thought I'd share this video with you, and feel free to post your thoughts about Chris Duane and how he has impacted you negatively or positively over the ages here on YouTube. As there is a crack in the shield, and the greatest truth, ironically, sometimes is never told or partially told. So I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for watching. Please rate, comment, and subscribe.